Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Odd, isn't it? Or should I say, Ram Ramji? Anyway, look, we've been hearing a lot from both sides, whether it's the NDA combine or the I.N.D.I Alliance combine. However, there is much to be said for and against all of them, one hopes. But let's take a closer look. What is the track record of these two combines? Well, let's take the I.N.D.I Alliance to begin with. They're all basically regional parties, not national. They're very parochial in their outlook. They think about their own little wells or ponds. They know very little, if anything at all, about the whole of India or India as a whole nation. They really don't. The only party in that entire group with some experience in the past of India as one group is the Congress party. And believe me, they've got a horrendous track record. The sort of record which anybody would be totally ashamed of. If you look at the way they've approached India and its development since 1947, you'll realize their policies smacks of total incompetence at everything. You'll start off a little project, let it come up so far, cut. No further development. And this I found 50 years ago. Discussions, and of course my father and I used to have World War III, IV and V at home. Because I used to come out with some of these things which made him really mad. For instance, the day I said, suddenly I realized something. I said, damn it, we're still a colony. And of course, my father happened to be sitting there. He went through the roof. I told him, look, what have they done which is different? And this was around 1968-70. We'd already been independent for over 20 years. And I said, look, what is licensed Raj? Licensed Raj is exactly what the British were doing here. And this government, since 1947, has been doing exactly what the British did before them. They just didn't know anything else. They had no prior experience. I'll bring to your notice something which happened around 1947. The top brass in the Indian Army worked together with a few British officers, and Nehru trying to decide who should be the Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces. He says, I think we should get a man from Britain to do the job, a British general to do the job. And somebody asked him, but why, sir? He said, well, none of us here have the experience or practical experience of being a Commander-in-Chief. So one of the brigadiers in that group who happened to be there, he says, sir, request permission to speak. He said, according to your logic, sir, maybe we should get an Englishman to become the first Prime Minister. Because I don't think anybody here has prior experience of being Prime Minister. Apparently there was pin drop silence. And that is how General Cariappa became the first Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces. You see, this little exchange tells us how little Nehru actually knew and how little faith he had in Indians to do the job. And this has been transferred into industry, and it's been rammed down our throats since 1947 until recently. That if you're Indian, you can't do anything, you're useless. And perhaps that is why anything that required a little brain work had to be imported. Nothing was made here because apparently we were totally incompetent, incapable of doing anything. And anybody who tried to do something here was driven out. As I said before, 33% of the millionaires in Silicon Valley are of Indian origin because they were not allowed to do anything here. Quite apart from that, nobody in the Congress Party, or the ruling Congress Party, has ever had something known as common sense. Sorry, there was one exception to that, and he was the one who was sidelined for much of the time, the forgotten man, Sardar Patel. Had he not been around, we've been back to 500 kingdoms a long time ago. We would never exist as India or Bharat. Now, let's have a look at the track record of present leadership. In the I.N.D.I Alliance, all of them are rabidly pro-Muslim and anti-Hindu. And every attempt has been made to keep us that way. One community at loggerheads with the other. There was never any attempt to integrate us so that we could be friends. Why? This is their vote bank politics all over again. Every law that has been made along these lines have favored Muslims, and all those laws have been totally against Hindus. Recently, the Karnataka Assembly budget, 100 crores given to the Waqf board for improving Waqf properties, maintaining them, 200 crores to Christian churches and Christian bodies. But Hindus? No, they have to pay 10% tax on all donations to Hindu temples all over Karnataka. For what? Why? Why are they picking on Hindus all the time? And those guys are still stupid enough to vote for Congress? Mind-boggling. Now let's see the TMC, the SP, the NCP in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, Lalu Yadav's, these other, and the DMK in Tamil Nadu, all of them care only about their little kingdoms. To them it is their kingdoms. And each one of these, as far as they are concerned, is not a part of India or Bharat. It is their own little fief for them to loot and plunder and put the money abroad. You see, these states are now the colonies of these monsters. Just like the British and the Muslim raiders who came from Iran and Afghanistan and so on, who looted the place and took their plunder back with them, as did the British. So these guys sit here and loot and plunder and take it outside for the benefit of those other countries, not for our benefit. Now, to make matters worse, the Congress Party, was it 2007? Oh no, 2008, around the time of the Beijing Olympics. They signed an agreement or an MOU with the Communist Party of China. And as a result, you get Rahul Gandhi echoing what Nehru said. We have no enemies. Why do we need an army? So you have China sitting on the northern and northeastern borders, trying to swallow up large chunks of India, and they're not enemies, huh? A friend does that to you, does it? A friendly neighbor takes away your land. And he doesn't think twice about attacking you. So what is this kind of leadership doing? What is their track record? We're about 50 years behind where we should be under Congress guidance or Congress rule, because they made sure that nothing is made here. The BSP, the SP, the TMC, and all these other regional parties are just that, regional parties. They have no idea about how to run a nation. What have they ever done for India? Nothing. Their stronghold or their area was Uttar Pradesh. What did they do there? They ensured that no development took place. People were frightened to go there until Mr. Yogi Adityanath came, and he clamped down on the mafias, the dons, the gangs, and he made them wish they'd never been born. They're running for cover. They're running to surrender or get killed. Because he's given the police a free hand. If they fire one bullet at you, send back 1,000 in reply. If there's nothing left of them, no problem. Law and order must prevail. Having done that, everybody wants to invest in UP. Unlike West Bengal and Mamata Banerjee. It is again what used to happen in UP is happening there now. This Sandesh Khali thing is horrendous. I mean, how do you allow such things, and how do you aid and abet people who do these things? And you want everybody to vote for you? In the same way as the Abdullah family, what did they ever do for Jammu and Kashmir? No development took place. Why? Because of Article 370 and 35A. Once abrogated, development can now take place, and it is happening. Youngsters are going back to school and college and universities, whereas before all they got was degrees in stone pelting. What else is happening? Rajasthan under Congress rule became the rape capital of India. And nothing was done to bring them to book. Why? You will notice this wherever there has been Congress rule, wherever there has been any other rule, whether it's TMC or SP or BSP or any such people, corruption is rampant. Lawlessness is the rule rather than the exception. The underworld has taken over so many areas. And of course, along comes the BJP, especially this Modi government since 2014. When they start clamping down on this underworld, all these dons and underworld gangs and so on, there's mayhem. Everyone starts screaming, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. I said, why can't we? Now, the problem with all this I.N.D.I Alliance, they are so obsessed with Modi. They have nothing else. They don't have even an idea. Forget even a thought, not even the idea of what they must do. They have only one thought in mind: how to bring down Modi. and the way they're going, maybe they deserve somebody to thump them across the ears and say, shut up, what do you have to offer? Is there any alternative? They can't even decide who is going to take over in place of Modi. Are we going to have 15 different prime ministers all at the same time? Is that the idea? Do they even know what India needs? How to conduct ourselves in this particular world? It's not the same world that existed in 2014. It's a totally different ball game, like it or not. And believe me, Modi has done it. He has taken India from a third world to a almost a developed economy. I can remember around 2009 or 10, big celebration in the Congress party. India had gone from 11th largest economy to the 10th. And they took 70 years to do it almost, or 60, 65 years to do that. And when Modi takes it from 10th spot to 5th spot in less than 10 years, no comment? They still go around, oh, Modi was a chai wala. He used to sell chai at the station. Okay, he sold tea. But even that he made a success of because his family depended on that income. I mean, he has a track record of success at every twist and turn. Now, whether he was the tea stall owner or the tea salesman in one of the railway stations in Gujarat, whether part of the BJP party in Gujarat, as a politician and chief minister of Gujarat, and then the Prime Minister of India, he's been one success story after another. Whatever he has done, turned to gold. And I don't mean the sort of lunacy which you get from Rahul Gandhi. You give me potatoes, I put it in my machine, you get gold at the other end. I mean, this is going back to the Middle Ages. Alchemists trying to convert base metals into gold. He's trying to convert potatoes into gold. I mean, does it make sense? No. What is their track record? What have they done? 1995 Narasimha Rao government. They put the final nail in India's coffin when they passed the Waqf Act 1995. The Waqf board can now take over every square inch of land in India simply by saying this is Waqf property. They don't need to do anything else. And then you can go on trying to prove that no, we have all the papers. Makes no difference. Because the only place you can stake your claim is the Waqf tribunal. And they run that law. Which means the Congress party has created a secondary legal system. Now, Rahul Gandhi keeps saying Adani, Ambani. I mean, damn it, come on. Those guys are practicing normal business. They're in the market for business. If they see an opportunity, they go into it. Why do you blame the government? Why do you blame Modi? They're not in it to stagnate. They're in it to grow. And if they grow, what's wrong with it? Do remember something. Those are the guys who pay the taxes, which run this country. The large amounts that they do pay. It is always the big companies, not you and I. Yes, we pay a fair amount, we think. But the thousands of crores actually comes from there. So what have you got against them? Oh, sorry, I forgot. You prefer a cash-based economy, don't you? The I.N.D.I Alliance does not like going through the banking system and having to pay taxes. The Congress, the old Congress, insisted on cash economy. So that there were so many leaks involved that nobody knew where the money went. That is why in 2013 they couldn't sign the deal with Rafael, because the defense minister at the time said blatantly the government of India did not have money. Where did it go? Now, unless you have people like Adani and Ambani and a few other big business houses paying those taxes like Tata's, how does the government operate? Where does the tax money come from? GST has been implemented by the BJP. It's bringing in money for all these projects. Now, once all that black money has been curtailed, I'm not saying stop, but curtailed substantially, money becomes available for so many of these projects. What kind of projects? Okay, I'll show you. 67 years of Congress rule, there are only 7 medical institutes like the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. In 10 years, they've increased that to 25. And there's 6 or 7 more already in the pipeline. Doctors are now staying here, nurses are staying here, medical staff and orderlies are being groomed here. And they stay here instead of going to places like the Gulf countries or the UK, Western Europe and the US. Yes, they hate him because the brain drain which used to go there is now staying here. And they're frightened that those Silicon Valley millionaires will start coming back here or stay here and become millionaires. That's something which frightens them. Why? There's no wealth being generated there. It's all coming here. And this is what the BJP government is doing. Creating the opportunity and the kind of playing field where people can want to do things here. Something we've needed. We don't want our trained staff to go abroad. We would like them here. And they're staying back here. Very good for us. Unlike places like West Bengal, where nobody wants to go. And somebody who wanted to go there was driven out. You remember Tata's wanted to manufacture their nano vehicle in West Bengal. They were about to begin and they were told to give back the land and move. They ended up in Gujarat. Now, for once, we've begun to make projects have started for making civil aircraft. I mean jets, not the propeller ones. Boeings are going to start making aircraft in India. Why? We were never allowed to do it before. Apparently we were useless. And yet the same Boeing would hire our Indian staff in the US. Something which the Congress Party has known since 1947. Now, the Congress Party, whoever was in charge of development, has never had basic common sense. They took over things like Tata Airlines and turned it into Air India and then destroyed it. They nationalized it without paying any compensation to Tatas, and now they sold it back with all the debts. This is the kind of management. And one of my future ones, I'll explain to you what common sense could do. All it needed was somebody who sat there and used this for a short while. Because until you use your brains, you never know what you can do. I'll explain that in a future video. But try and understand that most of these I.N.D.I Alliance members don't have any idea. To Nehru, India was his colony. He wasn't the Prime Minister. He was the Sultan or the King or the ruler of India. And he behaved as such. So did Indira Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi didn't want to come into politics. That was forced on him, and he had even less of an idea. As for Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, please, how can you even think of them as leaders? It's beyond me. I cannot understand this. I mean, Rahul Gandhi, a leader, a Prime Minister? Does he have any experience whatsoever? 10 years of UPA government, was he even a minor minister somewhere? A small one, even in an insignificant ministry? No. Because he cannot accept responsibility of any kind. Nor can Sonia Gandhi. And they sank so low that from the Prime Minister's Relief Fund, which are all donations from the public, money on which tax has already been paid, given to the Prime Minister for relief work in case of national disasters, like floods or cyclones or earthquakes and things like this. From that, money was siphoned off into the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. For what? They were using that foundation to collect donations to put in their own pockets. And you call this leadership? I mean, how do you call them leaders? How do they even qualify as leaders of a small community? Forget being a political party. I mean, there must be some quality in them working for the benefit of people at large. Indira Gandhi decades ago, came out with a slogan, Garibi Hatao, meaning abolish poverty. Before long, and even today, as far as the Congress party is concerned, it actually means Garib Hatao, not Garibi, which means remove the poor. Not poverty, but the poor. And this is what they've been trying to do. There was no infrastructure, no roads, no connectivity. The railways remained as they were. There's hardly any improvement. I mean, the people in rural areas remained there. And they remained poor. The poor remained poor and the rich became much richer. Now he's talking about Ambanis and Adanis. What about during 70 years of Congress rule? They used to be the Birlas. Yes, the Tatas were still there. You had the Mafatlal, you had a whole lot of other such people, the Singhanias, and a whole lot, and the Modis, and all these people all over the place. And you forget these are the people who create the jobs. Because without them, where do you get employment from? Where do you get money for taxation? I'll give you a small example. 10 people used to get together in a pub and they decided to make the payment according to the incomes of the people concerned. The poorest didn't have to pay anything, and the richest man paid almost 60%. This went on. The bill used to come to £100, and this is the way they paid it. One day the landlord said, okay, as your regular customers, I'll give you a discount. He gave him a 20% discount. Now when they divided that discount up, they found the richest person was getting 50% of that discount. And the usual, the rich take everything, they get all the tax cuts and so on. And they beat him up. So the next day, the rich man didn't turn up. The other 9 decided, we might as well have our drink as normal. And when the bill came, they found they didn't even have enough money to pay 50% of the bill. Going back to what I said earlier, why are you knocking the Ambanis and the Adanis and such people? Where do you think the tax money comes from? Yes, when you pay 500 rupees and you get a 10% discount, you only save 50 rupees. Right? Out of 1,000 crores which the Ambanis or the Adanis pay, a 10% discount means they save 100 crores. But they're still paying 900 crores to your 450 rupees. Hasn't that ever entered your thick skull, Mr. Rahul Gandhi? And in case you've forgotten, if you trace the history of the Adani Group, most of the beginnings and the central part was given by the Congress and Congress parties. It was your father, Rajiv Gandhi, who gave him his first license to import palmoline. Virinjam Port in Kerala was given to him by the UDF, aided and abetted by the Congress party. Mundra Port was given to him by Narasimha Rao's government. And a whole lot of these things have come during Congress Raj. So what the hell are you talking about Modi giving him everything? Modi has given everybody a go. He has galvanized and revitalized ISRO. They've gone to the moon. DRDO is manufacturing and producing and developing all our defense needs. We've started exporting. This is Modi's track record relative to the Congress party. This Tejas project was begun in 1983. And in 2004 it was put on the back burner by the UPA government. Along comes the BJP in 2014. Tejas is now in operation. Why? Because the Congress and the UPA was hoping to get huge commission by getting it from outside. You do not want anything made here. You want everything to come in from outside. The huge commissions and middlemen. Modi is the other extreme. Make it here. Make in India. Now you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Track record. What are the policies? Anyway, we'll go into this next time in more detail. And I'll make you understand, I hope, something which I came out with 50 years ago. Business principles. It'll tell you the difference between Congress and the BJP, the I.N.D.I Alliance and the N.D.A Alliance. Thanks, folks. Have a look. Think about what I said. Look at the track records of both sides very carefully. You'll see a huge, huge difference. And I hope people will understand when it's time to vote. Ciao, folks. Like, subscribe, send on to your other groups. Because I'd like as many people as possible to see this and the next 2 or 3. See you.